The Home Assistant Protect integration only lets you change text on the doorbell. With Doorbell MQTT UniFi, you can run full animations and sounds. We're going to set this up using Docker. First, we need a few things. UniFi Protect with UniFi G4 Doorbell Pro, Home Assistant with the UniFi Protect integration, the doorbell recovery code, and SSH enabled on the doorbell. In UniFi Protect, I'm on the devices list. I'll click my doorbell, go to Settings, scroll to the bottom, expand Manual Recovery, and copy the recovery code. Next, we need to enable SSH on the doorbell. We can do it from Home Assistant using UniFi Protect integration. The Enable SSH entity is disabled by default, so I'll enable it and refresh the page. It can take up to 30 seconds to show correctly. Now that SSH is enabled, we can set up the container. First, create the directory structure. We need subdirectories for config, profiles, and sounds. We'll create those as well. After creating them, I'll change to the directories so we can see everything. Now we'll create the Docker Compose file. I'm using Nano, but use whatever editor you prefer. I'll grab the Docker Compose file from the website and paste it in. The only value we need to change is the UniFi Protect recovery code. I'm not going to paste mine here, of course. Save the file and exit. Now we'll start the container for the first time. The first time we start the container, it creates a default config.json file. Let's open that now. The main settings we need: MQTT host, usually the Home Assistant server. Port 1883 is usually fine, that's the default for MQTT. And then a username and password for MQTT. I'm using my lab here, so these credentials are not live. Next, we configure the SSH connection to the doorbell. Host is the IP address of the doorbell. Username UBNT is the default for most UniFi devices. And the password ENV is an environment variable that holds the recovery code that we set earlier in the Docker Compose. You can change it here, but then you'd have to change your Docker Compose as well. Now for the presets. The preset section defines your animation and sound profiles. Name, what shows in Home Assistant, and directory is the subdirectory of the profiles that holds the files. The SFX section is for the sound effects. I'll add a quick example. name, and I'll use in a meeting. And then we'll add file, and we support OGG and WAV files. And we'll just use meeting.ogg. And then we'll set a volume of 75. If volume isn't set, it uses the default volume. Now let's restart the container to reload the config.json. Let's check the logs to make sure everything is working and MQTT discovery is happening. You'll see some errors about last applied.json on first startup. That's expected since this file hasn't been created yet. Now back to Home Assistant. We'll head back to our devices and MQTT, and we'll see the new device for the doorbell is created. Open it and click Test Config. The status changes to uploading, then back to idle. The last applied profile updates to Test Config. Now in the doorbell, we see the animation, and when we press the button,
testing 1, 2, 3.
That's the full setup of Doorbell MQTT UniFi. In the next video, I'll cover automations like switching profiles or making your SSH more secure. I'll also create videos on creating profiles and assets for those profiles or sound effects. Check below for the full setup blog link and the project on GitHub.